Hello everybody and welcome back to another trip report. Today I'm here at Sunshine Coast International Airport here in Queensland, and today I'm going to be flying Virgin Australia on board a 737 from here in Sunshine Coast down to Sydney in New South Wales. Okay, so I've just entered the small terminal building here. Over here you have the Virgin check-in. There's also priority check-in for Velocity Gold, Platinum, Business Class, and I think no, not Economy X passengers, that's just boarding. Here's the Bonza check-in desk. I flew on them yesterday on their first flight available to the general public, so check that video out. It's already out on my channel. Here's Qantas check-in, and then over there's Jetstar. Okay, so now let's go over here and check in. Okay, so check-in now completed. In case it wasn't obvious before, there's no self-check-in, you have to go to a desk. But it was really quiet since I'm a bit late because it was hard to find an Uber or taxi to get here. So checked in, got my boarding pass, didn't have any bags to check. The staff were friendly, but they were rushing. I think that's because they've got a closed check-in for the Sydney flight soon. So yeah, I do have a connecting flight from Sydney, so they were able to check me through for that as well. So now let's go down here and go through security. Alright, so security now completed. It's not automated at all. Luckily there's not too many people there, but they were using only one scanner, so it was a bit crowded with the bags and stuff. So yeah, not the best process there. But anyways, now Airside at Sunshine Coast Airport, formerly known as Sunshine Coast Maroochydore. So in terms of food options, you have sumo salad here. There's a sign for sushi back there, but I don't see no sushi. There's a little bar place there. It's quite open and lots of natural light. However, it doesn't look like there's too many places to charge things, but there's certainly a solid amount of seating options. So yeah, then there's a mini Rip Curl store, 4564 Express, which looks like it does coffee, and a news agency. I still don't see a sushi. So yeah, now we've got about only 20 minutes to kill before we start boarding. It would seem as though I am completely blind. It was like 5 meters to my right when I said I didn't know where it was. Real quick before boarding, here's the Bonza gate. I'm just going over here to grab a photo of our plane for today. My plane for today is Victor Hotel, Victor Uniform Zulu. It's a 2011 built Boeing 737-8 FE, delivered brand new to Virgin Australia. This will be my ride down to Sydney for the 90-minute hop. Priority boarding. It's now time to board.
That's great, Peter, thank you. First pax through gate. Priority boarding through here, general over here, thanks. Thanks, Hugo, front
Thank
stairs.
you. Now time to board. Hi. Good, thanks. How are you?
That's alright. Amazing, welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome on board the Virgin Australia 737-800. Seats are in a 2-2 layer in business class with 8 seats. There's 168 seats in economy. in a 3 layout. Whoops, I went past my seat. My seat for today is 6F on the left side of the aircraft when boarding from the front. This is the first row behind Economy X, which is just economy with extra legroom. I have a nice engine view for the ride down to Sydney. Okay, so welcome aboard the Virgin Australia 737-8FE, seat 6F. Now that I'm on board with my seatbelt fastened, let's go through the seat features. First up, we have a spectacular engine view here. The legroom on today's aircraft is a standard 79 centimetres or 31 inches. It's a bit better than the Qantas 737, and it's pretty good for the ride down to Sydney. Then here you have an individual seat pocket for your own items and a separate one for the Virgin Australia safety card, menu and sick bag. Then here you have a tray table which you can pull down like this. There's a few crumbs on it, but otherwise it looks pretty clean. You can pull it out like this and push it in. It's not foldable, however. There's the overhead panel. And just here is the headrest, which is nicely adjustable, both the sides and up and down. There's a coat hook on the side of the seat. And let me show you the recline. There we go, there's the recline. It's actually very minimal on today's aircraft. So yeah, overall I think the seat features are pretty okay here on board the Virgin Australia 737-800. And on this route, the only thing that can really compete is the Qantas Boeing 717, I reckon. I mean, the Qantas 737 does have Wi-Fi, but in terms of the actual seat comfort, then yeah. Anyways, boarding is actually about 5 minutes early, so hopefully we should be underway a little early.
On our way through to Sydney. Flight time today just on 1 hour and 25 minutes. My name is Ori. I'll be your cabin manager on today's flight. I'll introduce you to the rest of my wonderful crew very shortly. And of course, a special welcome to all our business class guests and all our returning Velocity members as well. Kindly start taking, of course, those assigned seats, lower those armrests and observe the no smoking and fasten seatbelt signs. Place all cabin baggage under the seats in front or in the overhead lockers, wheels first where possible. Anyone seated in rows 1, 3, 13 or 14, all of your bags do need to be at the overhead lockers for us. You are just seated in one of our bulkhead or emergency exit rows, and they just need to be completely clear of everything off the floor for our takeoff and again our landing into Sydney. We can bring those down during the flight if required. Wireless entertainment is also available on your aircraft today. In your seat pockets you'll find one of the onboard menus, and on the very back page there you've got some instructions on how to connect. Just make sure your devices are all in flight mode and if you're connected to the Virgin Australia Wi-Fi. A couple of reminders of course of the Wi-Fi on this aircraft. Not an internet or data browsing one, just the ability to stream the entertainment. And if you've flown with us previously and used the app that was available, then it's no longer required. Again, just follow the instructions on the back page there. I think there's a couple of passengers we're waiting for, or otherwise just waiting on the last bits of paperwork. Hopefully for an early departure out of the Sunshine Coast. But if there is anything else, please don't hesitate to let one of us know. Welcome on board Virgin Australia Service VH-VUZ. Cabin crew, umbrellas in cross check.
Welcome aboard. It's wonderful to have you with us. At Virgin Australia, your health and safety come first, so we appreciate you giving us your attention as we take you through some important information about this flight. If the cabin pressure changes and oxygen is needed, your mask will drop from above you. Immediately pull the mask down to get the oxygen flowing, remove any face covering, then quickly place the oxygen mask over your nose and mouth and slip the strap over your head. Brace positions and other important safety information, check the safety instruction card in your seat pocket. As always, smoking and the use of e-cigarettes of any kind isn't allowed on board. This includes in the toilets, which have smoke detectors and alarms. You make sure they are stowed and all devices are unplugged. The crew is here to make your flight safe, so please follow their instructions as well as all illuminated information signs.
Cabin crew, be seated for takeoff. Onboard service available. In your seat pockets there, you'll find one of our onboard menus. It has some great food and drink options. You can make any of these purchases with a credit card. Unfortunately, we do not accept cash or electronic device payments, so please have those cards ready. We'll come through the cabin shortly. As always, though, tea, coffee, and water is complimentary throughout our flights. Please try and minimise your movement throughout the cabin and avoid gathering in the aisles, and do try to stay seated whenever possible. If you need to use the lavatories, we do have two at the back of the aircraft for our guests seated in our economy cabin, and one at the front for our business class guests or guests that might require any extra assistance.
Okay, so we're now just up here at our cruising altitude of 38,000 feet. The friendly cabin crew just came around and handed out the Takeoff water service as well as by Onboard. So yeah, I opted for the tea today. Got a couple little milks, and I also bought a chocolate chip muffin for $5. So yeah, it's not exactly the cheapest, but yeah, it's pretty big, and I'll test out how it is today in a minute. I have had it before, so I know it's pretty okay. And yeah. By the way, normally I wouldn't get anything on Virgin, but since there's no lounge in Sunshine Coast, then yeah, so I'm a bit hungry. There is lounge access on arrival, by the way, for Velocity Gold and Platinum members. However, I'm going to cover that lounge in my connecting flight. Okay, so here's the muffin. I'll let you know how it tastes afterwards. And I've got a couple of milks for my tea. This might... There we go. So, yeah. Once again, very friendly cabin crew. And overall, I think it's a pretty good service here on board Virgin Australia. I do miss the days when you used to get a free muesli bar or something with Virgin Australia. But, you know, I guess they got to make money somehow, and it is pretty well priced. So yeah, overall, a good service from Virgin Australia. Okay, so still up here at our cruising altitude. I think now's a good time to have a quick squeeze at the Virgin Australia Entertainment, which is free on all flights. Just connect to the Virgin Australia Wi-Fi network. They do tell you at the start of the flight, and then sometimes it'll give you a prompt in fact, I think on the new system it needs to do that, and then if you press let's go, then it'll take you to the browser. You can use the app, I think, to get the link as well if you accidentally close out of it or something, or the QR code on the back of the menu. So I'm just going to have a really quick look since I've looked at it before and I don't have a whole lot of time. But yeah, there's a lot of different movies. I know from the past it's actually a really good entertainment system considering the length of most of Virgin's flights and the fact that it's free. So yeah, I think overall it's a really good entertainment system that Virgin Australia offer. Now let's have a quick look at the moving map. So it looks like our route took us going northwest out of Sunshine Coast, making a 180, and then flying down over Gold Coast, and yeah. And here's the info box, so you can change between metric and imperial measurements. As you can see there, our cruising altitude is 38,000 feet, and we should be landing at 11:52 in 41 minutes. So yeah.
Anyone needs to pack some stuff away, any parents with young children who may need a bit of extra time to get settled into their seats, or if you need to use the lavatories, now will be a great time to start doing so before we turn on the seatbelt sign off in the next 10 to 15 minutes. We're also going to come through to our final rubbish collection shortly. If you can please start checking your seat pockets and also under the seats in front of you and pass it on to the crew. They'll be walking through the cabin shortly. This will greatly assist our turnaround in Sydney. And of course this concludes our retail and beverage service for today's flight. Down. Your cabin baggage must be stowed securely either under your seats in front or in your overhead lockers, ensuring that the aisles and exits are completely clear.
Okay, so as you probably just heard, we have now started our descent into Sydney Kingsford Smith International Airport. So far it's been actually very good and uneventful, but yeah, not really any turbulence, which is good. So yeah, it's been a very nice flight on Virgin Australia, quite laid back and everything. So yeah, should be landing about 5 to 10 minutes early, which is nice. Now time for a scenic approach and landing into Sydney Kingsford Smith International Airport. I believe we're going to be landing on runway 16 right, possibly 16 left. Unfortunately, you don't get the city view since that's on the other side, but still nice views out of the right hand side.
Cabin crew, be seated for landing.
Some kind of government 767 down there. Parallel takeoff and landing. Can't see it on screen, but there's a Qantas A330 taking off.
Well, a very good afternoon, everyone. Pretty much afternoon now, and welcome to Sydney. Winding your watches ahead, local time just approaching 5 minutes to 12. Temperature outside is about 24 degrees. We'll be heading into our gates very shortly, but for everyone's safety, please remain seated and keep your seatbelts fastened. Keep the aisles and exits clear until the seatbelt sign just above you has been switched off. This will probably be a long taxi today. We'll also be refueling when we get to the gates shortly. Take care when opening those overhead lockers when you're on the gates, of course. Make sure that the aisles and exits are clear until we start disembarking. At this stage we'll be disembarking to both forward and rear doors. We'll also be refueling if they are close by. You can start using mobile devices with flight mode switched off while you're still on the aircraft. However, if you are leaving us via the rear doors today, those devices cannot be used when walking across the tarmac into the terminal building. We're also going to be using stairs to disembark at the back, so please take care and use those handrails when walking down.
I just realised I completely forgot to conclude today's trip reports. Now that we're on the ground, we still have a bit of a taxi to go. Let me at least start concluding today's trip report. Our journey today started at Sunshine Coast Regional Airport in Queensland. Not sure what that is, but it looks like it's possibly a private A319. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, our journey today started at Sunshine Coast Airport. I'm getting to the airport from where I was staying at the Novotel. It was very busy trying to get a taxi, but the actual distance from places is pretty good. Check-in process was pretty quiet because I was there a little bit late, and yeah, security process was pretty crowded and not ideal. Terminal itself, it does a job. It's air conditioned well enough. It's got some nice natural light. Got enough restaurants, but it is a bit outdated. It's a little bit confusing the way the gates and stuff work there too. So yeah, I do look forward to seeing that when it's been refurbished or the new terminal or whatever. But in terms of the Virgin Australia experience at Sunshine Coast Airport, I thought it was really good. Priority check-in and boarding, which was good, very handy. And then once you got on board, we got a nice welcome from the crew. The seat itself is the same as any other Virgin Australia flight for the most part. It's pretty good, but not outstanding. Onboard service, tea, coffee and water, complimentary as always. And the bar onboard service is pretty good. There's a good selection, however, it isn't particularly cheap. We departed, I think, basically right on time, which meant that, in fact, we might have even left a little bit early, which has meant that we have arrived approximately 10 minutes early into Sydney. It's uneventful, but really good flight with Virgin Australia today. I honestly have no idea what the airfare is on this route. It'll be on screen now. Also, there's a Qatar private jet there. Beautiful looking plane. So yeah, I don't know what the airfare is on this route, but what I do know is even Bonza aren't actually going to be doing this route because apparently Sydney were trying to charge Bonza too much, and the whole idea is cheap flights. So yeah, at least for the time being, it's just Virgin Australia, Jetstar, and Qantas on this route. Qantas operate 717s and 737s. Virgin operate just 737s, and Jetstar operate A320s and the occasional A321. As always, or almost always, Virgin is probably almost definitely in the middle. Jetstar's cheapest, Qantas is most expensive. Based off my knowledge of flight prices, I would say that Virgin Australia is probably the best option on this route, unless you can catch a good Jetstar sale, which tends to be the trend on most Australian flights here. But yeah, I guess it depends. Having gold status doesn't make a whole lot of a difference, considering you don't get lounge access in Sunshine Coast, but you do get lounge access on arrival, so that would also, I guess, lean you towards Virgin Australia. Yeah, I'll let you decide based off the prices that were on the screen, depending on your circumstance, but I think Virgin Australia is certainly a really good value option on this route. And as to the actual flight, it's one of the better Virgin Australia flights I've had recently. A nice vibe from the crew. That looks dangerous. See ya.
Thank you.
Well then, welcome to Sydney. Yes, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and like and subscription if you enjoyed would be very much appreciated, but it's not necessary nor expected. Check out my website at aviation763.com for information on upcoming flights and easier navigation to certain airlines trip reports. Check out my community tab if you'd like to participate in some fun polls and some upload schedules and just a little bit more information. And speaking of information, check out my Instagram at aviation763_. Since I do some posts, like when I flew on Bonza yesterday, my Instagram followers were the first to know. And yeah, there's also just some cool photos and somewhat live stories and stuff up there. So yeah. And last but most certainly not least, thank you to all my absolutely incredible Patreons who helped to make these videos possible. I couldn't do it without my Patreons, and the support is so much appreciated. I can't thank them enough. So yeah. Anyways, I'm now in Sydney, gonna go check out the lounge. So if it's not already out, stay tuned for that video, because I haven't reviewed the Sydney lounge yet. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope to see you in my next one.
Well, very good afternoon, everyone. Pretty much afternoon now, and welcome to Sydney. Winding your watches ahead, local time just approaching 5 minutes to 12.